Hi, my name's Michelle and I'm one of the Parent Care Ambassadors, and I want to talk to you today about some simple strategies you can use to help your child settle into university. First of all, I would say the key is to be prepared. It's really important in a few weeks or maybe even months before your child goes to university to have a think about the sort of things that might be really useful to them or help them to feel a bit more comfortable in their new home at university. So having a family photo taken in the summer before they leave for uni might be really nice. Having an up-to-date family photo together, taking some photos of pets or things that are really important to them that might stay at home. You can think about baking a cake or cooking some favourite food that you could freeze and leave with them when you leave them at university, and also think about things that might make their room nice and a bit more personal to them. So things like a blanket or a cushion, poster or bed linen. That could be something that you make if you're that sort of person, or it could be something that you buy. Something that I did with my children when they went off to university is I made something called open when envelopes, and you can find information about this on Pinterest, lots of different ideas. And the idea is that you create a box or a basket with lots of envelopes in them, and on the envelope it says open when, and it might be open when you're short of money. It might be open when you need a treat because you're feeling low. It might be open when you're bored. It might be open when you're sad. It could be open when you're ill. It could be any of those things, really. So the next part of the process of helping your young person to settle in at university is thinking about dropping them off at uni and the day that that's going to happen. So usually with most unis, they will have told you well in advance the day or times that they need you to drop off. Your family might be one of these families that don't talk about these things, and that's absolutely fine. Obviously, you'll manage this however you need to. But I think it can be worth having sort of little conversations over a period of time about how you want to manage the sort of saying goodbye process, really. And I think some of the things that you can ask is, are they going to want to be helped to unpack, or would they rather just be left to it? So some students and young people would rather just be left with the boxes and they'll unpack it over a period of days, and others would rather that you help them make their room look a little bit more like their room at home. And that's something you can decide with them based upon their sort of personality, really. But do be prepared to be flexible on the day. You might get to the accommodation and there's already a lot of other housemates there, and your young person may be one of the last people to move in. And if that's the case, they might be quite keen to say goodbye to you as parents very quickly because you're a bit of an embarrassment to them. Alternatively, it may be they're one of the first people to move into the accommodation, and then when you leave, they're going to be totally on their own for a little while. So you might need to sort of just, play with that a little bit based upon the sort of circumstances, obviously. Expect to find it difficult to leave them the first time. It is going to be hard for you, and they might pretend it isn't hard for them, but it will be hard because it's different, and anything that's new and different is always going to be hard. But it doesn't mean to say it's bad, it just means it's a new adventure, really. And I think it's probably wise then to maybe text or message them later that day once your emotions have calmed down a bit. So perhaps if you compile a little text or a message, or you may even like a bit of snail mail and send them a little card or something, then you can say all those things that you want to say about how proud you are of them, etc., without it becoming overly emotional and really difficult for them. Something that worked for us was agreeing a time when we could talk to one another once a week. So often that would be if one of them was walking perhaps to an activity, like they might be going to a dance class, or it might be that they were walking back for a lecture at a particular time, and that would be the time when they'd then ring. And it's helpful if you have maybe an agreed time, a rough agreed time, because to make sure you're available and not distracted so you can have a proper conversation. And it also means if you don't get much contact during the rest of the week because they're busy, you do know that you will have talked to one another, okay, and you don't need to worry that you're going to lose contact with each other. Something else we developed was having a system for them letting me know that they were okay, even if they didn't have time for a full conversation. So if I messaged them and they didn't have time for a full reply, they would just text okay, or in the case of my son, K was what I would usually get. But at least I knew they were still alive and I didn't need to sort of overly worry about it, and then they would sort of catch up with me at a later point in time. University for most young people is an amazing experience. They grow a huge amount and they change, but they change all for the better. So enjoy it.